coming from me and from my experience from it.
Well, so wait.
On anybody else.
So what you saying is that you just want to be upfront, like it don't really matter, what the deal is. You just want to know what the deal is.
That's it. And then let me decide whether I'm down with that or I'm cool with that or not.
Absolutely.
But don't go with lies and all that. Like we're too old for all that. So
Well,
I can't deal with it.
Well, the funny thing about that, is that when you start off with a lie, you got to get past the lie and then deal with the truth.
Right. But
so
then you have to keep telling lies to keep up that same lie. Hopefully you remember it.
Right.
It's harder to do that than just be honest and tell the truth.
Yeah, it definitely is harder to keep up with a lie most of the time because you gotta remain like in remembrance of that lie. You almost gotta literally exist in that lie.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. You're existing in that lie. And somebody like me who pays attention to a lot of stuff, the first time you slip, I got you. I may not say anything, but I keep that in mind, like in the back of my mind, like, okay, I remember you said this, or we started off like this, and no, that's not, So one thing about me, when I see red flags, blue or green or yellow,
you just see any flags, you dip it, huh? You dip it. It sounds like you already got your shoes, your sneakers on, and everything. Like, soon as you hear it, like you ready to run. Like it's already in the bag,
Listen, no.
And so
I don't want you thinking that comes on with like, okay, my mindset is I'm ready to run. No, it's not like that because I'll give you a chance. You know what I'm saying? I will give you a chance because that's the type of person that I am. But like I said, if I'm willing to be upfront and honest with you, then give me this, reciprocate that to me. That's all. And so when men ask me, well, what are you looking for in a man? And my answer is simple. Then they want me to go into it. I'm like, why? Because my answer is the same thing and it's consistent. When they ask, what are you looking for in a man? I'm looking for a man to be a man. And that's all I give you. I don't give you any more. I don't say any more. I look for a man to be a man. Because if you're a real man, then you know exactly how to treat them. It's that simple.
But what you're saying is true and correct. There is one problem with that, though.
What's that?
Is that everybody has a version of what they think that is.
But the underlying, the basics should be the same across the board. If you do a little extra, then that's fine. If you do a little less, but the basics of, okay, do you know, first of all, you're right, because you may be a man, but don't know how to treat them. But then say that as well. Well, I've been in relationships thinking I'm doing it right, and I'm still learning. I get it. We all are. But yeah, when you come here and you start this and start that, and then before I know it, how did you say you weren't with anybody? Well, it's complicated. Bye.
Well, it's not really complicated.
Goodbye.
Man, hey.
I don't get the thing, when you have that click of relationships or, single, divorced, married, it's complicated. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if it's complicated, then you have options. With a complicated situation, you either gonna get it right and make it right, or you learn the lesson and move on.
Well, we all got choices. That's why I appreciate you for saying that. You just want a man to be a man. Like you just want him to come. Like just give me the ghost. Like give me what it is, and then we can decide together. Like I'm grown, you grown. So if it's something I still feel like I want to engage in, I will engage with you. Like
right. And the thing is, I will never expect or ask something of you that I'm not willing to reciprocate myself. I would never do that.
But, and that's fair.
That's being hypocritical. That's being a hypocrite. Well, I can never do that.
Absolutely, the world is full of them, though. So there is that.
Yeah.
But So I think that we all have I think we all have some versions of hypocrisy. I'm sorry, I was going to use hypocrisy in our mind. Sometimes we might be biased when it comes to our family or friends or situations that we might feel, so it's okay to have, but it can't permeate when it's important though. Like on important things, you can't be
right.
Right. It got to be righteous.
It doesn't work. Don't expect something of me that you're not willing to do yourself. That's my thing.
Yep.
It's a respect thing. You respect me, and I respect you. And I think it's simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. Some things doesn't have to be complicated. In friendship, in relationships, with family, some things just doesn't have to be complicated. But sometimes we tend to do that. We make it.
But people complicate things because it's because of the variables. Like they trying to win.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like.
But should this be a competition thing?
No, it shouldn't be at all. But what I mean by win, it means that like they have a way that they think that it should be, and you have a way that you think that it should be, and so those two ways might not always be the same. So
right, but in all respects, we can agree to disagree. But if it's something that's going to be really important in what you're trying to build or what you have, in a friendship or relationship, then, the both of you have to come together and say, okay, well, this is my point. I'm strong on this. This is your point. You're strong on that. How can we take our 2 points and make it work?
Right. But that's where the art of compromise comes into play, though.
Right. Exactly.
Like the art of compromise. See, the reason why I call it the art of compromise is because some people are really good at it and some people are really bad at it.
Yeah.
And so, so
you're absolutely right.
And so, in order,
you have some people who just aren't willing to compromise.
Right, like that's not something that they want to participate in at all.
Right.
And that's fine. If I know that all you really want to do is get your way, then to be fair, I still get to make the decision on whether or not I want to give you that, though. So
right, exactly. Now the ball's back in your court.
So the ball is still back in my court. Like I still get to make the decision about whether or not, oh man, she's spoiled, but am I going to deal with that? Because that really kind of, to me, that explains partially why. Now I don't know if you know people like this, but I know I've been around people like this, and you'll be around two people and they in a relationship together, and no disrespect, because I'm a non-really judgmental person, but I mean, if it look like a duck, act like a duck, and quack like a duck, then we got to surmise that it's probably a duck. So if
absolutely, I agree.
Right. So with that being said, if you act like a terrible person, and I call you a terrible person, it's because you are a terrible person. Like,
I'm only going by what I see.
Like, for real. Right. You treat everybody like crap. You never had nothing nice to say. You always complaining. And how can I find any good in any of that? Like, how can I say that you're a good person if you do that and treat people like that? So, but then
why would I want to be around somebody like that as well? It's like, okay, because if you're treating them like that, eventually you will treat me like that as well.
But
what you do with everybody,
right?
I'm next.
Hey, ding. Tell Bob. Well, Bob, tell her what she's won. Like that's exactly right.
That's
like, and then, but see, that's the thing though. You'll be with these couples. And it'll be a man with a woman who's a terrible person, but he will always defend her though. Like he'll literally watch her treat people like crap, and he will just sit there like he is a statue, like for real, like for real. Like
I know somebody like that, like right now, and it's just like I can't even talk to him. I'm like, I have no respect for you as a man. Especially when you let your lady talk about your mother and your sister and your niece, and I mean, and even your grandmother. Like, what have these people done to you that they're so awful? And even if they've done anything to you, it's a level of respect that you give them.
Absolutely.
I don't care what kind of relationship my mother and I have. I am not going to allow you.
Right. Not in no way, shape, or form. That is a non-thing. Like
and
that.
I'm looking at him like, you gonna let her? Are you serious? You're not gonna just say nothing. I mean, you just mute. Oh, okay, gotcha.
Like,
gotcha.
nah. That's not even real life, homeboy.
No, it's not. It's not. Why are you not defending these people? Because these are the same people. When she starts to treat you like that, she does, then you run back to them. But you allow her to say things like, "Oh, his mama used to be a crackhead. She should have died a long time ago." And I'm like, "Wow, okay." But even in that, she changed, and that was her lifestyle back then. She's a different person now, so you don't speak on that.
First of all,
you know her back then.
Man, look.
He told you in confidentiality, and you brought it back up when you got
man. Hey, for real, that might be something like on a reflex might get you punched in the face.
Thank you. When I tell you, that's something that make me call myself like, what you
like on a reflex, man. I don't even know. Something might happen to you for real. You know what I'm saying? I can't be responsible.
I wanted to hit her, but I'm like, oh, I ain't gonna get into it because that's not my business. But and I told him after the fact, I was like, I don't believe that this girl, she calls herself a woman. Talk about your family like that, like, oh my, and then when she's talking about your grandmother and your mom, like, are you serious? I'm looking at him like, you're not just gonna say nothing? You just gonna sit there? No, I have no respect for people like that. None. I definitely don't have no respect for her. And him, it's even worse.
See, that is a trip, because I mean, I don't know, man. I've seen and watched people kind of disrespect their parents or talk crazy to their friends or something like that, or talk crazy to their mom. And I'm like, man, how could you get away with that, man?
Right.
Like,
exactly. How could you get away with that?
Like in the history of my existence, was, man, everything. Life is. Hold on 1 second. This phone acting stupid.
Okay.
Hello?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. In the history of my existence, right? My mom passed away 8 years ago. And but in the history of my existence, I've never said a single curse word around my mom. Like, right. not a single one. Now, I mean, right. I'm a grown man, and I'm entitled to do whatever I want, say whatever I want, and live how I want. But
it's respect.
It was like a respect thing. It was like like, come on, man. Like, I ain't out here like that. I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I've watched people, say stuff and be like cursing their mom out in front of people. They be having company and they be cursing their mom out. Like, man, do you know that you can die today? Like,
right, exactly, today. And I do believe, I'm not trying to be super religious or super deep, but I do believe when the Bible says, honor your mother and your father, that your days be long upon the earth. I do believe that when you do things like that you're shortening your time, or you got some karma coming back.
Oh, absolutely.
You got something coming. There's no way that you think that you can do that and that level of disrespect and nothing happens to you. Something happens to your family because you've talked about his family. You got to be careful.
But that's the point, though. Like, like the level of respect that you just used to, the level of respect that we just used to have for older people in our day anyway is totally different than even the level of respect that they have today now.
Right, exactly. Like, I would never call my mom by her first name. Like, I just, these days, the kids are calling their parents by their first name. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Now my daughter does it. She does it jokingly. Like she does it like to be funny.
Right. Exactly.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, Charles, what are you doing right now? Did you eat today? You know what I'm saying? Like she does it jokingly, but it's not something that, that's a regular practice in. But I know I do know that full disclosure, I call my dad, Charles,
gotcha.
but there's a story behind that. But but aside from that, in reality, like in real life, just if you go to meet somebody's parents or you go to, your significant other, you go into their house, man, I'm gonna tell you something. Charles, personally, me, I will go to somebody's house. When you let me in the door, I will stand at the door until you tell me I can sit down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just be like, I'm just gonna wait. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what the rules are. I don't know what parameters you might have. I don't know none of that. You know what I'm saying? So since I don't know what the rules are, I'm just gonna stand real still. Okay, I'm gonna stand real still. Right, exactly. Yes, I don't want no trouble. I don't want no problems from nobody about nothing. For real.
Trust me. I get it. And it's I think, especially when doing something that it has a lot to do with everything about you. You're going to be somebody. You have a significant other. They're going to be their parents or their family. First and foremost, your mentality has to be right. Okay, this is something new. I'm going to meet his family. I have to be me because I don't want to put on a facade.
Absolutely.
If it's not really me, then the real me going to eventually come out. That's the first and foremost important thing. I believe your behavior, the way, even down to the way that you dress. I've seen my brother before he got married, bring some girls to the house, and I'm like, wow, okay, that you were coming to meet his family.
Right.
And you wore that.
And you wore that. Like the outfit is just as important as what you gonna say, do, or think.
Exactly.
Now, but this is the thing though. This is the thing though. I don't think, and I'm not saying this in a disrespectful way, okay? But I don't think that it should be. And let me explain. What I mean is we should want people to be as comfortable as they are within themselves. So whatever they might need to do that, then they might need to do that. And you might not totally agree with it, but I think that we should be able to learn it and understand it. We should be able to watch it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if I don't like what you're trying to do, I'm still going to be able to listen to you, and I'm still going to try to understand where you're coming from. So,
gotcha.
So in the
same perspective, it's almost like, people, we've had this talk, we can agree to disagree with everything. That's why I like my friends, because we're open-minded and we have discussions. Sometimes we get on the negative just to get an argument or just to, try to, prove a point. But in that, I feel like this, okay, if you're coming to the house and that you're coming to meet his family, his mom, his grandmother, his whomever, or whatever, and your attire is just screaming something different. You could be a really nice girl, but it's at the same time, appearance is a lot, because first and foremost,
it is, but it's probably too much. I guess that's my point.
And then you're going to a job interview. Would you wear that to a job interview?
Right now. But let me ask you this question.
You know the time and the place to wear something, and I get what you're saying, but you still know that there's a time and a place to, if you want to, that's fine.
Right, but I don't disagree with you. But this is what I'm saying. Like, check this out. Like, say for instance, you wore an outfit that was a little thin on clothing, let's just say. And you wore that out to meet somebody, right? Or you wore that out, and you out and about with your girls, y'all having a good time, and none of y'all got on no clothes. I'm not supposed to assume that all of y'all are something just because y'all don't have on no clothes. One of y'all could be a doctor. The other one could be a principal. The other one could be a scientist or something like that. That's just for that night. That's what they chose to wear. You see what I'm saying?
So there's a time and a place for everything, because this is where you're going. You're going with your girl. You know what I'm saying? That's why there's a time and a place for for all of that.
Right.
So
but if
you're going out with your girls and y'all hanging out, you're going to the club, then turn up and baby, dressed in dress. You're
right.
Like trying to look for a man,
right.
dressed in dress. But if I'm going to meet your parents, the same outfit I wear to the club, I'm not gonna wear it.
No, but just for argument's sake.
Family Sunday dinner.
So absolutely, no. I'm not. I'm just again. I agree with you wholeheartedly. I'm just being devil's advocate to some degree. But,
I see that. I know that. I picked that up already. I picked that up already.
No,
I did.
But like if she,
I'm gonna let you have it. I'm gonna let you have it. I know how to compromise. I'm gonna let you have it.
Okay, no, but I mean, but definitely, but there are areas of etiquette and decorum with almost everything that we do,
Right.
And so we can act accordingly, but we also shouldn't be like that. Shouldn't for me. One thing is never the end all be all for a person.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like just because, like as a matter of fact, to give you an example, there was a article. I don't know if you follow sports or anything or not, but
I'm not a sports fan. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. But Monday, but this the football game came on Monday, right? And one of the commentators, Maria, and she dope, by the way, one of the analysts, she was on Monday Night Football. And the outfit that she had on was like this leather joint, and it was like like kind of like skirtish. And I thought that she looked good, right? I thought she looked really good. But the funny thing about that is that I knew in my mind that they gonna have something to say about that tomorrow, right? So check this out. This is funny. The funny part is that when tomorrow came, they had something to say about it.
Of course.
Listen,
of course.
And so the guy from Chicago, where I'm from, he was we ain't gonna say what what he is or what he isn't, but he said that she looked like it was something that she should wear to a nightclub and not to announce on Monday Night Football. But it wasn't though. It wasn't.
Was it that obvious, or was it? It was just like something like she's a woman.
She's a woman. She's be man. Her Carrie, they be styling and profiling. They be looking righteous. Right. So I as a matter of fact, I look for and Molly too. I
don't know. Was that he was looking for that?
Right. Like and so, but see, but that's the thing though. Look, see, so what I'm learning about myself and what I think people should learn about themselves is that even though as smart as you are and you might have something to say, your opinion don't need to be injected into everything though. You know what I'm saying? Like just because you know about it, you don't need to comment on everything that you know about. Sometimes you can just sit there and you can just listen to it. And you can just sit there and you can just listen. Like that's it.
You just have to let it be.
Right. You just gotta let it be. But sometimes we feel like that every time that we just being so real, and I'm using air quotes, we just being so real that we gotta comment on everything that somebody want to hear about. Like I don't really care about Offset and Cardi B getting a divorce. I don't think that deserves my opinion. That's them.
I don't even care about that. That's them.
That's their own personal business. You know what I'm saying? Right. Like if I like their music,
she has her reasons, and you have to just go with that. Just hoping that the best for both of them. That's all.
Right.
But that's for both of them. That's it. I mean, just because they're celebrities, that doesn't mean that that they can't go through things that everyday people go through because they are everyday. At the end of the day, I don't care how many top number one songs she has. I don't care how fast WAP got to number one. At the end of the day, after all that behind closed doors, you never know what they're going through.
Right. To quote my friend David Chappelle, Anthony Bourdain had the best job in the world. All he did was travel around the world and eat different foods and watch different cultures and experience different things in life. And that man, he had a whole family and everything, and that man killed himself in a hotel. Like like all this good you got going on in your life, and he still decided that his life wasn't worth living, and he decided to to take it from his family, to take it from his friends, to take it from people that cared about him. Like he thought about that and still decided, you know what, I still don't want to be on this earth anymore. Like that's so you don't ever really know what people be going through or what they just don't. You know, how happy they is.
What they show is what they show, you know, on the outside, you know, from the big screen on the camera, or like I said, behind closed doors, in the back of their minds. You don't know, like the man, what's his name, play Mrs. Doubtfire? You know, he was the funniest man, always jolly, always happy, always making jokes. But he suffered with major depression.
Right.
Major.
Right.
But at the end of the day, when it was time for him to, you know, come to the public, he had to put on that facade, like, okay, this is who I am because this is what they know me to be, and this is what they love. This is what the public love. This is what the audience love. But I know what's going on with me. I know what's going on. If nobody else knows, he knew what was going on with him, and it was the saddest thing. You know, it's like, wow.
Yeah, but you know that's why it's so important, man, that you surround yourself with the right people. You know, the right people that care enough about you to tell you when you messing up. You know, and care enough about you. They will
pick up on things. You know, when you're not yourself today. What's going on?
Right, you're not yourself today. Right.
Let's talk about what's going on. You know, whatever you say to me, it stays right here. Yeah, it stays right here. But let's talk about it because you're not yourself, and you're not going to tell me. You know what I'm saying? But that's somebody who really cares about you, and if you guys are friends, and you know, you should be able to pick up on things when your people are going. Sometimes, you know, you can have that. You know, that thing where, you know, you guys are so close that, you know, you literally feel in your spirit, even when they're not around. Like, my best friend can call me and she's like, you know, you've been on my mind lately. Paul, what's going on? I can't talk to you in a few days. Just go. And I mean, she never skips a beat. But because we have that connection, that's what happens. And if she didn't, I mean, you know, and it shows that she cares. And that I care because we pick up on things, even when we're not around each other. If she's on my mind real hard, I'm going to call. I'm going to stop and call and say, listen, I don't know what's going on, but I had to just stop everything I'm doing just to call you. So what's up? You know, and I know that I can, you know, vent to her. She can vent to me or whatever, but that's just but you have to have that connection with people. You have to, and you have to have a heart for people. If you don't have a heart for people, it'll never happen.
Well, you know, you got to have, that's fair. That's and true. But you know, like we are a funny people, man. Like now, I think that we all like are started to live in like bubbles and silos. I think the pandemic kind of caused a lot more separatism than just, you know.
Yeah, together, right.
But see, the irony of that is that during the pandemic, you know, I used that opportunity to get even closer with my family and to get even closer with my kids and, you know, to talk to them. And we went on trips together and did stuff like that together, you know. And
that's a good thing.
But when it comes to like life now and relationships, like everybody really only cares about what affects them and what doesn't affect them.
Yeah.
You know, like, so that's why, you know, like, to be honest with you, like, even, you know, if we just being honest and not to really get, you know, too political, but if we just being honest, the whole Black Lives Matter movement didn't really, and I'm again, this is just my butthole opinion, but the Black Lives Matter movement didn't really like kick off until white people figured out that they could profit from it. No disrespect, but when it became politically expedient for everybody, oh wow, saying Black Lives Matter now, look at how everybody rallies behind that. We can make money off of that. We can use that as a marketing ploy. We can use that as a disploy. Now, so now that people that really stayed silent all this time prior to that, you know, now they all out and bloviating. Now they out talking in the public eye now, talking about we believe Black Lives Matter. So let me ask you this: prior to today, that you said that, did you not already know that?
Right? Did you not? Right? Exactly. You know, what was your mindset?
What was your mindset? Did they not matter prior to you saying this? Like, that's what I'm asking. Like,
I guess not.
You know,
I guess, and then, but you know, after, because everything, you know, blows up and is ostracized for a moment or for a season, then it kind of dies down. But even when this Black Lives thing died down, because it actually will you all who aren't African Americans or Africans or whatever, are Black, you know, will you still feel the same? Will you still
Are you staying the course?
Are you still going to do
Are you staying the course? But
there you go. There you go.
But see, but again, though, the real work is done on the ground. Though the real work is not done on the TV or with the commercials or with the T-shirts and all that other stuff. The real work is done on the ground and in the Congress and with the law. So it's just a whole, But I'm just saying that sometimes things don't matter to people until they affect them. So it's like now this is part of my life now. So now I got to get involved, or now I got to be a part of it, or stuff like that. So okay, so now it's a thing. But so prior to that, it wasn't a thing. Or what did you think about it? Why were we not talking about it? So So it really was just a shame that it took all that to bring light to something that people should have been paying attention to all along anyway.
And on the flip side of that as well, I think that the thing that really matters to me more than what the white people or what any other race is doing or believing is that our people alone will always remember that Black Lives Matter, because I see it kind of two ways. I can see how the white people feel about it, because I kind of agree, like when will Black lives actually matter to us as well? Because you can't tell me that Black Lives Matter and we're still having all of this. Because listen, we do a lot of killing amongst ourselves,
Absolutely.
Which is so sad.
Absolutely.
And that's just, it's awful. And I hate to see that. Like not too long ago we had we had like 2 or 3 different instances where kids were shot just by being outside. One little girl was on a tricycle. She was a toddler. And somebody came through and was doing a drive-by, and you killed this baby. You know, so it's just like, okay, it needs to matter to us as well. It has to. It just has to. I have a brother right now who's incarcerated because he was in a gang and he was selling drugs, and they got into this shooting one day, and they did it around the playground. Now there's a little boy. At the time, he was 10 years old, and he got shot. My brother shot him, and he's paralyzed from the neck down. So it's just like,
wow.
You have to, and I still to this day, this happened years ago, and I still to this day have a hard time even talking about him. Even just calling his name, because at the end of the day, I'm thinking, first of all, you have a daughter.
Right.
And what if that had been somebody that did that your child, you know? Or, it's just the fact that I know you had to see him. You had to have seen him. As a matter of fact, he was the only child on the playground. Nobody got to stop and say, well, you know what, listen, I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to keep moving. No, but you wanted to prove your point, and you had to, I guess, represent for whoever. And so now this little boy, even though he didn't lose his life, he's refrained from doing a lot of things that he could be doing because of your stupidity and your ignorance and your selfishness. You were selfish. And so I still have a hard time to this day, even talking about him. Just talking about him, period. Because I'm like, when will Black Lives matter to us? And we gotta stop.
Man,
this has to stop.
I really, really appreciate you sharing that story, like, in a real way. Like, I really do, because, like, I grew up, like, I was in the gang. Like, I'm extremely familiar with the gang life. And, I think that right now, man, I don't think that people understand how many lives are affected by things that we do. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, so you killed that 5-year-old kid, and now you have grieving parents, you have grieving sisters, you have all these people that are now grieving for the loss of this child. And then you're on top of that, the person that committed the act is finna be incarcerated. And so their people and their family and their lives are going to be impacted because they're going to be grieving for their child incarcerated. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, and so I've told my friends this on many occasions. I said, I think that we have, in American society, I think that we have become desensitized to death.
Yeah.
I think that we don't look at death in the same critical way that we used to back in the day. Like, it used to be a really, not saying like it's not a big deal, but it used to be really dire back in the day. Like, it's like when somebody died, we mourned for real. When people die today, people just be like, oh man, for real? he died
And that's it.
yesterday, and
Right.
then we on to the next page of news or anything or distractions.
Exactly.
You know, so
Exactly.
with that, but with that desensitization, I don't know if that's a word, but we'll look it up later. But with that comes a matter of these young kids being so rebellious and not having a regard for lives and lives that are affected by loss of lives.
Right.
So you got to,
back then, I believe social media plays a lot with our kids.
It does.
I believe it plays a lot. Well, back in our days, we didn't have all of this, you know.
Yeah.
We didn't have the Instagram and Facebook and all that. We didn't have all of that back then. So they look at things and they see things, and even with movies and stuff, and they see things and it's like, oh, I can do that. Yet I think I want to be in a gang. I want to represent myself.
Yes.
It's like, wow. But what impact are you having on society?
Well,
but see, you're going to have a negative or positive impact on society.
Right, but
you know, in your own life.
But you know what though, and that's the funny. See, so the funny thing about that is, while you're 100% correct, you know, people are 100% wrong in their approach. And what I mean by that is, like, see, about 2 or 3 rappers I can name off the top of my head were killed because of Facebook and Instagram. So, like, they were shopping and stuff with it, and telling about what they was on Instagram, and somebody they pulled up on them and shot them in the middle of the street in Chicago, on the street outside.
That's crazy.
in a very affluent part of Chicago. But you know, like with the social media and all that, like people got to understand that everything that those kids want, a McDonald's job can't get them.
Right. Exactly.
So and school is not the answer today when I want it right now. You know what you see what I'm saying? So it's really like it's really hard because, you know, for them to want $250 shoes and $200 pants and all this other kind of stuff. A teacher can't come and say, man, if you really go to school and sit down and you just buckle down and get your education, you can have all those things in 10 to 15 years. And he looking at that man crazy like, 10 to 15 years? What are you talking about? Is you stupid? Like, have you lost your mind? Are you okay? 10 to 15 years? You looking at him, you get that, you get that side head, you know what I'm saying? You put this head to the side, you like get that side head. Like, what are you talking about? 15 years, you done lost your rabbit mind.
It doesn't work like that with kids these days. It's like, okay, yeah, you tell me about education. I know that's fine, but however.
Right. But how you gonna make it happen today? How you gonna make that happen today?
Right. I need that money for them Jordans in the morning.
Right.
I be in the line.
Right.
You know, it's crazy. But then I think parents have a lot to do with that because my baby sister, she has 4 kids. And me and her got into a little spat about, and of course, I don't have any children. I'm 43. I don't have any kids, but I've helped raise all of my nieces and nephews. And I just see parenting, I guess, in a little different way because, and call me old-fashioned, but I believe there's a value in a dollar. I believe that, you know, you teach them, you know, that hard work pays off.
Absolutely.
You don't give them everything that they want. I don't believe that they should be rewarded for cleaning their rooms because, oh, you better clean it. That's not a reward. I have a roof over your head. I'm giving you everything you want. So, if you clean your room, I'll give you $10. Or if you clean your room, I'm gonna go ahead and get those sneakers.
See, it's not if, it's when.
You better wash those dishes and wash them now.
Right.
Not when you feel like it. You know. See, we weren't raised like that. We were raised by my grandmother, and listen, she didn't play no games. She said, "Clean our house." She means clean her house. I mean, I say now, you can go ahead and pick your switch off that bush out there. Yeah, because you finna get it. So, and it's like, you know, I understand that, you know, you want them to have the best, but at the same time, I never wanted my nieces and my nephews to have the mindset that, somebody bought me an outfit from Walmart. What should I do with it? Huh?
Wait. That's funny.
Yeah, listen. They're used to, if it's not Jordan,
Oh.
if it's not Polo, and everything in their closet is name brand. The only thing they probably have from Walmart is their underclothes, their panties and their bras, and the boys that their drawers. But other than that, Walmart and socks. But other than that, you telling me to do what? Pick out what? And here? Yeah. And so, and my sister is used to people telling her, "Oh my God, you always dress the kids nice. Oh my God, their hair is always done. Oh my God," you know what I'm saying? So it's like the mindset is, I seek the approval of the outside,
right?
And so because I seek the approval, and they're always giving me the approval,
right?
I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I am the Joneses.
Right. Right. I'm the Jones.
What happens? Yeah. What happens when that time comes and you cannot give them these things?
Right. And if you haven't,
I remember times where I have a problem when your phone bill is more than your car note and your rent put together. Everybody has iPhones. The baby who is 5 years old will have 2 iPads. Why the hell does he have 2 iPads?
See. And that's where we at, like kind of right, like now in society. I think that a lot of the parents of today are really just trying to make up for the things that they didn't have when they was coming up, though. And so it's like an overcompensation factor to some degree. But I think that you can give your child whatever you want them to have. I just think you have to teach them how to appreciate it and appreciate how you accumulated it, how you got it. So that's where the trick comes in. That like there is nothing wrong with somebody blessing their child or wanting to see their child in good things, especially if you're fortunate enough to be able to do so. But the thing about it though is, again, you have to teach them that one, like I know that hustle is something that can't be taught. So you got to show people how to hustle. Like you got to make earning your own and having your own important to them. And so
very important.
When it becomes important to them, then they don't be wanting mom and dad to be rationing out money to them all the time. They want to go make their own money so that they can buy their own shoes, so that they can pay their own car note. But you got to get. But see, you know what I think that. But I'm gonna tell you something though, Monica. Like for real. What's really lost to me is that people will always try to get in the kids' hearts. They should really be trying to get in the kids' heads. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like,
I agree.
So when you get in the kids' heads, like everything flows from that thought. Like you start off with a belief, but you actually start off with experiences. The things you experience create your belief. You know what I mean? And so from your belief creates your values. That's how you value things, and that's how you treat things. So it's like from those experiences you get these things. But if you're not receptive and you're not righteous and you're not teaching them, then they grow up getting these lessons from somebody else that might have ulterior motives or might not be teaching them in the right manner.
There you go. Because now their mentality is, well, I want this. I want it now. Mama can't give it to me anymore, so let me see how I can get it.
Right. Right.
Wrong mentality. And now you're questioning your mother, like, wow, where did I go wrong?
Right.
What happened? What happened to my child? Well, first of all, you gave them everything they wanted. You never taught them how to really earn their own. So now what their mindset is, well, I'm gonna get it however I can get it, because this is how I'm used to getting it easy. So I'm going, whatever I have to do to get it, then I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do just that. And like you said, sometimes you can get with the wrong people and the wrong crowd and the wrong individual outside, and their intentions aren't pure. And now you're caught up because I wanted this, and mama couldn't give it to me. So now he can give it to me, or she can give it to me.
But that's the funny thing about that though too, is if somebody want to learn about something that you don't learn from at home, then you might learn from it. You might learn it from TV. So if your parents don't sit down and talk to you about sex, and you learn about sex from TV, then there you go. That's where it went wrong.
Exactly. Like with Cardi B with her new song. It came on one day, and we were all outside. My sister had the car on, and so when it came on, she started speaking.
This should be fun. This should be fun.
And
are you talking? Excuse me. Are you talking about the WAP song?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead. Continue. This is funny.
I got a headache. Because I'm thinking to myself, my 14-year-old niece knows it word for word. Yeah, my 8-year-old niece knows it word for word. The little boy knows it. He's 5 years old. What you know about a WAP? What you know about a WAP? What you know about it? You know, but you can recite the lyrics, and I'm looking like, oh my God! Like, I guess these kids probably can teach me something.
Can I say something to you? Can I say something to you?
What?
Do you know how many times they have had to heard that song for them to know all of the words?
Right. That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, because I know I'm a song.
The thing about my nieces and nephews is that they know every rap song that comes on.
Right.
They know word for word.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
Like
then, Dinesha, you have problems. You're having problems in school. The same thing that you applied, the same way that you sat on your bed and put those earphones in your head, and you sat there and you didn't get up until you learned that song.
Yeah.
You can take that same mentality and do it for schools. You can't tell me you can't do it.
Listen.
Tell me
yep.
that no.
And you can apply those. You can take that application of learning and being, and you can apply that to something else. You can apply that to something else.
Positive thing. So, of course. So when and my sister told her the same thing. She's like, well, you said do all this and learn all these songs, and you know them word for word. I mean, when I said word for word, like, yeah. And I'm thinking, wow. And sometimes I just look at them in awe, like, oh, even the baby knows the song.
Right.
I mean,
like
and
that.
Even the curse words, you know. My nephew was cousins since he was 2. You know, he was calling his sister because he's 5 now and she's 8. They're 3 years apart. You know, he was calling her. Didn't know how to say the BITCH word all together. He know how to say pronounce the entire thing, but he was like bit. And I'm like, what is he saying? And my mom was like, girl, he cursing. Oh, he calling his sister. Oh Lord. Are you serious?
Man, that's it. Hey,
my God.
I mean, that's.
He knew when to use it. He knew when she made him mad.
Yeah.
When she made him mad, she knew that word was coming.
Yeah.
And he would walk around and shade with his diaper on. Just chubby as he wanted to be walking around the house with his diaper on, you know, and it's pacifier. And I'm like, oh, okay, but you got to pacify, but you want to call somebody out their name. Boy, if you don't go sit down, you don't go sit down somewhere.
See, and
you know what being angry, you know.
But I guess to some degree, it's like calling. It's like, you know, it's like saying something to me that it only has power if I give it power. So. But he probably don't understand what it means. He's just saying it because it's the word on the song. So we got time to get him right.
Was cursing in front of him, and my mom was cursing in front of him. So you got now you want to discipline him when he's out the street and he's saying it, and now you're embarrassed. But my thing is, and I tell my sister all the time, he gets it from you, or he's learning it because you're allowing him to listen to this kind of stuff. And so to me, even though they may not know what it means at the time, but it still resonates in their spirit. That's just how I see it, how I perceive it. And eventually, you know, they'll know because, you know, at the age of 11, my niece started watching porn. Now, again,
what?
At 11, she was watching porn at 11. Okay? At 11.
How did she get to watch porn at 11? How did she get to porn?
Social media. And you have friends who've seen it before, and at the time, my sister didn't think of putting any parental controls on their phones, so she was going to that.
That's crazy.
That popular website that you know, so because somebody told her about it and she saw it, you know, like my grandma would say, "Oh, well, she tasted grapes," you know, so she saw it, and it's like, "Oh, okay, I may not know what's going on in there. It's intriguing to me. Something about this I like." So. At night, when you know everybody's sleeping and mom doesn't take our phones away, I'm under the blanket and I'm going to the site and I'm looking at what I want to look at.
Wow.
At 11, yes. So she was exposed at an early age. And I told my sister, I said, listen, I've seen them sit down and watch things on YouTube that I don't think that they should be watching. I just don't think that they should be watching certain things. And because my sister just kind of let them, at the time, she was letting them do what they want to do, letting them keep their phones, you know, no parental controls on the phones or on the TV. And they learned a lot.
Oh, man, it was just no holds barred.
None. So, that, you know, that hurt her bad about, and I told her, I said, you know, the day in which these kids live in, it's harder for them because they have so much more to deal with than we did. Social media wasn't like this when we were out there. We didn't have access to a lot of things like these kids have access to. And even if you take the parental control and put it on her phone, when she gets outside of your home, you can't control what she sees.
Right.
You can't control the friends that she has,
right,
or what they're watching, or what they're exposed
right.
to. You just can. All you have to go by is what if I'm teaching her right. I'm praying that she stays on the on the straight path that I taught her, and never stray or never have the influence or let somebody else influence her. That's all you can do. You can teach her the right way. As long as you've done that, you've done your part. You've done your part.
And that's our ability. That's all you can do is just give them the tools. It's up to them whether or not they're gonna use them or not.
Right.
You know, exactly. So I definitely understand that because I have 3 girls. You know, and
oh wow, you don't have any boys?
No, I'm incapable of making boys. I was really bad as a teenager and an adult.
That's your karma.
That's my karma. I think I gotta believe it. Like there's no other way. There's no other way to explain it.
It's okay.
I committed some crimes against humanity, man. For you to just give me 3 girls, like for real.
And the girls are the best. So
they are they the best. They the best. I just think that they are more difficult to raise than boys are. That's all.
And boys, you think so?
I believe so. I believe that society has a different thought about what a man should be and what a woman should be, and they're both separate. So when you have a girl, you're teaching her what like the societal way of being a woman and being perceived in society. And whereas a boy, they just kind of open the door, push you out there and tell you to kind of figure it out. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like in society, they want you, as a man, they want you to go through hardships and they want you to have adversity and they want you to have to knock somebody out in order for you to feel like you are, you know.
That you're a man.
Right.
That you have that toughness.
Right. With a woman, you worried about when she gonna lose. With a girl, you worried about when she gonna lose her virginity. Is a dude trying to rape her? Is somebody trying to harm her?
Right.
You know,
especially a dad. A father is always concerned about things like that in regards to his daughter.
Right.
And you can't take that away from me. You're gonna always have that mindset.
But also shopping for them is different. Hairdos, all this other stuff, $200 or $300 hairdos, clothes, dresses, rompers, everything.
Like $200 or $300 sneakers as well.
Okay, right. Well, see, listen, let me tell you something. And listen, as a dad, if I had a boy, I would tell him to go take his ass out there and go earn some of the money. So, hey, I'm sorry for cussing, but that's how that would have went down. Like that's how the conversation would have went right there.
I get it. I understand.
You know, but with a girl, she just give you that look, or she just call you or beg you 18,000 times, and you beat and gave in before you even know it. Your wallet is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, my dad keeps saying, he's like, listen, I gotta get you married soon because I'm tired.
Yeah,
like, what?
For real, man. It's exhausting, yo.
You always be my dad.
It's exhausting.
As long as you tell me I'm your daughter, then I'm gonna always come to you.
So, but my girls are older though. Anyway, I'm glad. I don't have any young kids. Like my youngest daughter is I have a 16-year-old, a 26-year-old, and a 19-year-old. She about to be 20 next month.
Okay, it helps.
Yeah, that's what I said. They be parenting me mostly. I'm trying to tell you.
They got you wrapped around their fingers. That's all.
Yeah,
they got you wrapped around their fingers, and that's a great thing. That's because there's so many kids out here who long to have fathers that can be fathers and be there, and they long for that. So any dad who steps up to the plate and care for their children and raise them and I commend them. Hats off.
But you know what's funny about that? I appreciate that. I genuinely do, and I really wish that in my realest moment, and if I have any men around me, like if we were all talking in men's honest moment, we really wish that we didn't get credit for doing what we were supposed to do. Meaning like that we wasn't looked upon like, you know what I'm saying? Like we wasn't looked upon like, ooh, yeah, he's being a good dad. You know what I'm saying? Like that was something that was already like expected and supposed to be happening. So it's kind of like breathing. It's like par for the course. Like it is what it is. Like that's the point. Like,
but I think that when in our society, when we see that stepping up to the plate, it's like, okay, let's let them know that we appreciate them, but only because we have so many women that are single mothers and that they're struggling, and we see the struggle and we see what they're having to do, and dads are out there doing what they're supposed to do and make their own babies and not taking care of them. So it's sad that we feel that we have to give you props for, like you said, things that you should already be doing. Period. That's your job. But in our society, especially in the African American society, we don't see that a lot because we have a lot of dads that aren't around,
and
aren't available for their kids.
And the reason why like I said that also, that I said I appreciate it, because the fact that you did say it, like there is such a negative stigma, about that, and to no fault of our own, because we are culpable, being again, a lot of these conversations, man. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and so full disclosure, right? You listening to me? Full disclosure, I'm on a kind of an apologetic tour, right? So it's kind of like, a couple of people that I feel like, that were in my life in the past, that I felt like I did some things to them that are not me, that are not within my character, or that I, shouldn't have done. So, I've recently reached out to those said people and apologized to them,
Wow.
And
wow, that's amazing. That is amazing.
Well, I mean, one of the funny things about it though is like, so this is the irony, I'm gonna double back, and then I'm gonna double back, and I'm gonna go forward. I know that sounds funny, but so yesterday I was at Hot Taco, watching the game. I had the best seat in the house too. It's a whole nother story about that I got to get into, but we'll get back to that. But so I got 3 stories on the landing strip. But So I'm at Hot Taco, right? And and I'm watching the game. I'm sitting there by myself, and then my phone rings, and it's my pops. It's my dad. And I was like, I thought that was like the coolest thing. We hadn't talked in a minute, and so I call him, and we talking, and I'm like, yeah, I'm out watching the game. I'm having some tacos, da 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 da. So so we chit chatting about sports or what have you. And then before he got off the phone, he said, I want to say something to you. And he was like, he's like, I want to apologize to you for my past. And I want to apologize for if anything I had done as a father, did this and did that. And I was like, wow, it was like, we had already like had that conversation already. But that particular day, that particular time, he felt compelled to call me and say that to me, So I was like funny, and I was telling him, I was like, Pops, I don't really see. I think that the past should be used as a reference. I don't think we should live in it though. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I understand what people, well, in the past this and in the past this, and we got to refer back to our past. I not get that, but we also have to live in our present and plan for our future though. You know what I'm saying? So all that keep bringing up what happened back 10, 20 years ago, what happened back in the day, that sounds good when we reminiscing, but it shouldn't be something that we always talking about in lieu of trying to solve our problems, because our problems are now. Our problems are not in the past. You know what I'm saying? And our present is right now. So let's talk about what we're going to do today. Let's talk about what we're going to do moving forward. But talking about how our past used to be, that is really not beneficial. I just don't, you know what I'm saying? So I get it.
Sometimes it's hard for people to get past their past, especially this. It was really bad. Hold on a second.
But I think we gotta stop. Ken, what's going on? I just really think, we reference our past, we live in our present, and we plan for our future. Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
I'm sorry. That was my grandma. I'm sorry. I'm back.
It's all good.
But yeah, I think it's hard for some people, to kind of move away from their past, and they probably want to, but it's hard. Some people can do it and move on and say, okay, that was my past, I'm done, or whatever. But a lot of people have to, even though they may apologize to particular people, they have to learn how to forgive themselves for what they've done, and that's the hard thing for people, to do, is forgive themselves. I always say, when I meet someone and they tell me about their past, I tell them, it's okay. It's okay. As long as your past is not what you're doing in your present, then we're good.
Yes.
We are good. Because that was then. We're living in the now. So as long as your past has not caught up to your future, or has a plan to be a part of your.
Thank y'all for tuning in to the Goons Game.
No, as long as your past has a time, your present time, or has a plan to
tune
be
in later. I might do a small broadcast.
We are good. Forgive yourself. And it's hard for people to do that sometimes. It is so hard for people to forgive themselves, and that's why they stay stuck there. That's why they stay stuck there.
Well, right, and so that's why but that is a lot of that is also why